Hello and welcome to another session. Today we're going to be looking at some of the features that are available to you within Gemini itself. So as you can see on the screen, I've got the Gemini chat window open and I can enter my prompts. I've also got my plus button where I can input files or add in information from my Google Drive. Got some information about deep research, creating videos, and we're going to look at these tools in a little bit more detail throughout the session. And obviously you can change, and this is a new position for this, you can change the version of Gemini that you are using. So we've got fast, where we can get answers quickly, and we've got thinking with 3 Pro. And that's the model that you would use for coding and analyzing code, etc. Or going a little bit deeper. So we are going to start off with having a look at the deep research element. So I'm going to click on where it says tools and I'm going to go to deep research. This will allow me to take sources from the internet, upload files, and I'm going to upload an information from my drive. I'm going to take the secondary national curriculum for geography, and I'm going to imagine a scenario that I want to plan a series of lessons based upon Key Stage 3 geography for a certain number of users in my class. So I can attach the PDF if I have it on my files, or of course I could download the web link and pop that in. So I'm just going to go and grab my prompt. I've already typed this in a doc for speed, so we'll just copy that in. And obviously we've got our deep research tab on, and we are going to let deep research cook in a way. Now this can take some time, so you have to allow it to do its thing. The more sources, for example, the longer it would take. Now this has analysed this quite quickly, probably because I've already been playing around with it. And you'll notice that it hasn't actually returned any results yet. It's just given me a plan of what it is going to do. And if I want to edit the plan, I can, or if I'm happy with it, I can start the research. So you can go into it and see the full plan. And I'm happy with that for what we want to do. So I'm going to press start research. And this is the bit that it's going to go away and do everything that you need it to do. The good thing about deep research is over on the left hand side here, it's actually sort of taking you through what it's doing. Now you don't have to sit here and watch this. You can obviously just let it do its thing and come back to it at a later date, because it does take a bit of time. But whilst we're waiting for everything to work through, as you can see on the right hand side, or the main part of the screen, it's gone and taken my upload, my PDF, and it's also then gone out to the wider internet and find some other useful resources to put into my research plan. And as you can see, I'm on it. I'll let you know when it's done, so you can leave the chat. So we'll come back when this has all finished. So when deep research has finished its research for you, it will return its thinking on the right hand side, or in the main part of the window. And what we asked for was a series of lessons, 4 lessons about the water cycle for students who have English as an additional language. So being able to scaffold and provide support. Now bear in mind, I am a non-subject specialist, so I would need extra help with this. And as you can see, it has now provided me with quite a large set of research. And this is not lesson plans at this stage. This is the working behind the scenes, and it's giving me some suggestions for lessons within this document. So obviously I can drill down further into this. I can take this into a Google Doc and complete some more analysis with this. So in the top right, I've got the option to export to docs or copy the contents, and I'm just going to export that into a Google Doc. and we will see, well, we will be able to share that as we would normally. So as you can see, it's now in a Google Doc. Okay, I've also got some further information that I can do within here as well. In the create section, I've got the ability to create a little web page which might be useful, or an infographic. I could produce a quiz, some flashcards to help these students, or an audio overview, very similar to what you have in Notebook LM, that the students could listen to what we've come up with. But at this stage, we've got too much information, so we're just going to start to move things forward in a different way. Okay, so now I've got my research completed, I can go back to my chat box and I can ask it to do certain things. So what we're going to do now is I want to take this information, and I want an assessment, a fun and engaging assessment with a assessment criteria or a rubric, so I can actually assess the knowledge of these students. So again, I have got that prompt already lined up. And we're going to pop that in and we're going to see what it generates for us. So when the little Gemini icon appears at the top, then you know it's finished. And obviously this is giving us some insights of what we could do. So the assessment or the assignment, it's giving it a title of the journey of a single drop of water, and it's giving us some breakdown about how we could address or deliver this assignment for students. Again, I've got the ability to export this to sheets if I want, and it's taking me down through other aspects that I need to be aware of, such as accessibility, the vocab that these students are going to need, and then obviously it goes into the assessment criteria, and it's giving me some more information in there. So again, really useful, and I can obviously then take this information and do with it as I please. Okay, right. So let's have a look at some of the other aspects. When I take deep research off, it's going to ask us, if I do this, it's going to be a new chat. That's absolutely fine. So I'm back to my chat window here. And this time we're going to have a look at Canvas. So I suppose this is allowing us to take our learning in a much different way. I'm sure that many of us have sat down at one time and searched the internet looking for something that's already been created, an infographic or a visual or a video that you can use to explain the concept. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to build an application to explain the water cycle in a really interactive, fun way to do that. Now, obviously, if I know Python or I know how to code this, I could go away and do that. But if I don't, then obviously I might shy away from trying to generate that resource. But with Gemini, especially with Canvas, you can actually build that as you would like to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in my prompt, which is, can I write an application to explain the water cycle to students in Year 7? I didn't say about EAL, so let's add that in. And then we'll just use fast for this as well. Again, Gemini will produce this up for me. And there is my code. Now, if I am a coder or I understand the code, the Python, then I can scan this and I can go through all of the lines of code and I would be able to recreate that. So it's still working away. But as you can see, I'm down to, over 100 lines of code so far. And that's going to take me some time to develop. Now, when it's finished, you get this preview. And this is really, really useful. This is what the students are going to see and use. So I've got the water cycle explained here, and it's talking about evaporation. And when I click on the next section, which is condensation, it talks to me about how condensation occurs, gases to liquids. I can go to stage 3, which is precipitation, where the water falls out of the sky, and obviously in winter that happens a lot more than it does in summer. And obviously, where does the water go when it gathers on the ground or falls back to earth? So this is a really, really useful way. This can be imported into Google Classroom. Now, to do that at the moment, what you're going to have to do is go to the share button, and you're going to have to copy the contents. In the future, there will be an option for this to be taken directly into Google Classroom, but that's not here yet. So I can go to the code. I can then copy the contents of all of this. It's been copied to my clipboard. And if I wanted to get that sort of application out into the wider world, I can do that with Google Sites. So I'll just go to a new site. And we've got here, and then obviously within Google Sites, you have got the embed code section. So you can go over to where obviously you would like to embed your code, click embed code, and obviously just copy all of that code into that text box. That will then take what we had in Gemini, and I can now insert that into a site, and I can go through and click the applications. This works obviously when you preview it. So we'll just go into our site. We can preview where things work. So we can go to consolidation. We can make this bigger and smaller, and then I can go through. This file, of course, can be dropped straight into Google Classroom, and it's a really, really useful tool to explain the concept of the water cycle. So that's using Canvas, the aspect there to help us build some code and build an application. Okay, so we're starting to explore different ways that we can play around with Gemini. Now I need a video to just help visualize the concept of the water cycle. So I can go to where it says tools, and I can create videos with VIA. Again, let's just pop our prompt in. I want a video of the water cycle. Now this is going to give us the option to produce an 8-second video with sound, and it will take 1 or 2 minutes to come together. So we'll let Gemini cook, and we'll be back when it's come up with our video. Our video is now ready. So we're going to play the video. It's going to be 8 seconds, and we can see if this is suitable for what we need. So this video doesn't actually have any narration over the top, but it does give a nice visual display of obviously the water being sucked up from the ground, turning into clouds, falling as rain, and back to the earth. So that's a nice little information piece there. Okay, another tool that we can use within tools is our guided learning. Now, this is a really, really useful tool if students are working independently, or we want to produce some revision materials. So if you've got students taking exams, they can use this independently to help them learn, but we can also use this to assess how we are getting on. So right, let me grab another prompt just for some speed. Help me explain the water cycle for year sevens who are finding the topic tricky to understand. So this is within our guided learning. This is now bringing up some responses. It's giving us a nice little infographic here, similar to the video before. And then obviously within our prompts, we can actually go down and see what this can do. Which of these parts would you like to start with? So it's giving us suggestions about where we can go. Well, actually, let's have a look at the main stages of the cycle. So I'm just going to copy that for speed. I'm just going to pop that into our guided learning part of Gemini. And it's now having an ongoing conversation with us. So this is now working from our prompts and giving us information about, in this case, the evaporation and the first part of our water cycle. Okay, so I can go through, I can use my visuals, and then I can ask it some further questions. Okay. So down the bottom, it's going to ask us, what do I want to learn? It's even giving me a question. Now that the warm water vapor is high up in the atmosphere, what happens to it when it meets the much colder air up there? Okay, what is the opposite of evaporation? So I can see and I can test my knowledge, and I can see what happens. So let's type in a response to this question. It falls as rain. And you can just type that in, and it's now assessing knowledge. It's telling me that's correct. Yes, when the clouds form and they get too heavy, the water falls out of the sky as precipitation, or as rain, as a student might call it. And obviously it's taking me through the process. Again, it's using our diagram. And again, it will continue to give us more and more and more questions as we go through. So what needs to happen for the light floating water droplets in the clouds to finally get heavy to fall to the Earth's surface, which is precipitation? So I can continue to ask these questions, how does snow fall? We haven't really talked about snow, but that's still precipitation. So we can now start to ask it these questions, and it's giving us freezing conditions as we would expect, and then it's bringing up images about snowflakes, and you'll notice that I get the opportunity to export various things to sheets, which are all useful tools. But what I really like about this is we can check our sources. So it's going into where has it got this information from. And if we don't like the sources, we can amend our research plan at the start when in deep research. So really useful ways of using Gemini with the deep learning, deep research, guided learning, and all of the other tools. Okay, we're now going to go and have a look at gems. So in the chat section on the right hand side, you'll see where it says explore gems. This brings up this menu for you, and all of your previous gems will be here. If you create a new gem, you will be given these instructions, and basically you give your gem a title, you give it a description of what you would like it to do, and then you give it some instructions. And of course you can add in your files from Drive at the bottom. So I have already pre-loaded a gem, or pre-created one, and it's our geography gem. So let's just go and have a look at how we can put that together. So I've called it Key Stage 3 Geography. What do I want this gem to do? I want this to help students answer questions they may have about the whole curriculum. So in the previous examples, we've just touched on the water cycle. This is now going to take us into the whole curriculum. I've put some instructions in there, and then I pressed the little Gemini button to let it work its magic. And I've taken the curriculum that we had before, but I've also taken our information specifically about the water cycle that we generated in the deep research. example previously. And before we launch the gem, you can actually test it and you can see what it does. So we'll just ask it a question, and this is becoming a chatbot. So this is what students might actually put together. And this is you testing it to see if it works. And there we are. Can you explain the water cycle? Hello, brilliant question. The water cycle is also known as the hydrological cycle, and this is a closed system. So once I'm happy with that, and I know it works, I can press update, and then I'm good to go. So actually, I'm going to now just open my gem. And I get this page. Now this looks very, very similar now to the rest of Gemini. And now I can go and ask it as a student prompts. So I might want to know a bit about glaciation and the impact that glaciers have on rocks. So I can ask it that exact question. What is the impact of glaciers on rocks? So I can just ask it that question. And there we are. It's now coming back to me with a response. Brilliant question. Glacial erosion, the wearing away of the rock. It's giving me lots of information about this. So it's really, really useful tool. Now, of course, I can go into the tools at the bottom and use Canvas and create videos. So let's build now an application to explain glaciation. So we will now generate another application similar to what we did before. And of course, it's going to give us the code. And we'll be able to export that if we so wish. So Gemini has now produced us a code. It's not given us a preview this time of our application to explain what happens. So this is where I will need my little workaround. So I'm going to go to where it says share the contents, and I'm going to copy those contents. Then I'm going to go to sites. And like we did before, I'm going to embed the code. So I'm going to press embed the code, paste that in, and then obviously I will have my application ready to share out. Now, of course, this is a bit small, so we're going to make this a little bit bigger. And then we can actually see what has been produced. So it's from our Key Stage 3 Geography Gem, the glaciers grip on the rocks. And it's taking us through lots of bits of information. So let's just have a look at what that looks like. And we can see how it would look to the end user. So I can click on these things and it will give us information about what's happening at plucking stage. Then I can have a look at what happens of when the rocks become too heavy in the glacier and they fall out. So again, this is giving us lots of bits of information. And of course, you don't now need to be an expert coder. You can use the Canvas element to do that for you. So hopefully you have seen lots of different use cases that you can use with Gemini. Delve in, have a look, and we can obviously have lots of fun. There's plenty of use cases. Please do let us know how you've been getting on with them, and then we can all see what we've been doing. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.